I thank Dr. Sampath for having invited me to deliver my speech in Constitution and Court language, which is one of the very important and current topic for discussion. I am glad to hear that the government of Tamil Nadu and the High Court of Madras unanimously passed a resolution and recommended to the Government of India and the Supreme Court of India to implement Tamil as an additional language in the High Court of Madras. Let us first see the constitutional provision on court language. Article 348 is the relevant article. I'll come to it a little later. While drafting the Constitution itself, there was a massive debate over the question of language to be adopted in the country, and the proceedings of 3 dates are duly reported in volume number 9, book number 4 of the Constitution, Assembly Debates. It must be vehemently emphasized that the language is a very potent force for national integration in any country. But at the same time, it is also a very potent force for national disintegration. In a really working and functional society, no imposition should be attempted against the will of a substantial number of people of the society, and any such imposition, even in respect of language, is likely to be counterproductive, especially when the issue also involves hugely potential weapon for evoking emotional outbursts. It may also be pointed out that under our Constitution, in Schedule 7, at present, we have as many as 22 recognized languages, and apart from this, under Article 347, there is also a provision that in a particular state, if there is any other language which is being used by a substantial portion of the population of that state, and a demand is made on their behalf by the state concerned, then even such other language could also be officially recognized by the President as the official language of the state. Under Clause 2 of the said article, the Governor of the state may authorize the use of Hindi language or any other language, either for the official purpose of the state or in proceedings in the concerned High Court, subject to the previous consent of the President. Clause 3 of the said article provides that there is, where in any state, its legislature has prescribed any language other than the English language for use in the bills being introduced in the legislature or the acts passed by the legislature of that state, or the ordinances promulgated by the governor of the state, or has made any other subordinate legislation made in the state, a translation in the English language shall also be published in the official gazette, and the same shall be deemed to be the authoritative text contained in the English language. Analysis of the aforesaid provision clearly indicates that it starts with a non-obstante clause, that is, irrespective of what has been stated under Article 343, 344, 345, 346, and 347. Thus, in other words, this article has been given a predominant importance. The most vital part of Clause 1 of this article is until Parliament by law otherwise provide. Thus, the entire article is based on the assumption that anything to the contrary could be provided by the Parliament by law. It is also clear that no special majority has been provided for Parliament And in fact, any ordinary law made by the Parliament will supersede all the provisions of the three classes of this article, that is Article 348. Thus, the Parliament has been given the overriding rights under this article. Very recently, the Department of Legal Affairs, Ministry of Law and Justice, has forwarded a copy of the note dated 29/3/2006 from the Legislative Department, along with a copy of the recommendations of the Committee of Parliament on Official Language. The recommendations of the said committee is extracted in my speech at serial number 16.8D and C and E. We are concerned with our first class. Article 348 of the Constitution, this is the recommendation by them. Article 348 of the Constitution may be amended to enable the Legislative Department to undertake original drafting in Hindi. The next one is to request the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court to write judgments in Hindi. The Law Commission, after the receipt of the said recommendation, addressed letters to many retired Chief Justices of India and judges of the Supreme Court, senior advocates from different parts of India, and also from different bar associations. Response. Many responses were received, particularly from the former Chief Justices, namely Justice O.V. Chandrachud, Justice M.N. Venkatachalaya, Justice Jagannatha Shetty, Justice Natarajan, Justice Thomas, Justice Krishna Iyer, Justice B.N. Krishna, Justice Ahmadi, Santosh Hegde, Justice S.M. Quadri, Justice Pariburnam, and Dr. Justice Malimat. Many lawyers also have expressed their views by their individual letters. They are Mr. P.P. Rao, T.L. Viswanatha Iyer, Vijay Hansariya, Mr. K.K. Venugopal, Aravind Dattar, Lakshmi Narayanan, Dr. R.G. Padia, and T.P. Kelu Nambiar. All the former Chief Justices of the Supreme Court and the judges of the Supreme Court and the Chief Justices of the High Courts have by their letters expressed their views on the matter by stating that since English language has not only come to occupy an indispensable and irreplaceable status in the country, but has also become a world language, and the judgments of the Supreme Court and High Courts of India are read and sometimes quoted before the High Courts and Supreme Courts of the countries in the world. Such being the case, if the Supreme Court and High Courts are to deliver judgments in Hindi, the people in the South and Eastern regions, including the learned members of the bar and judiciary, will not be able to know the judgments delivered in Hindi by the Supreme Court and High Courts except the translations in English of those judgments. Furthermore, the unity and integrity of the country is bound to be affected by reason of the linguistic chauvinist. Justice Krishna Iyer has opined that the present system has also international merit, and other judges have to rely on the judgments written in English in Supreme Courts and other country, and that he is all for Hindi as a personal preference, but all against Hindi by compulsion, especially of the judgments of the Supreme Court of India and the High Courts. Then I have extracted in my speech the opinion given by Justice Venkatachalaya. He said, we should respect the parliamentary views and a beginning has to be made through circumspection, though the circumspection requires that we should hasten slowly. Then A. Mahamadi also, K.S. Justice Pariburnam and Valimat. All these, their opinions are extracted. Likewise, senior advocates P.P. Rao and Viswanatha Iyer and others have also explicitly expressed their views on the matter. Senior advocate from Kerala, one Mr. Kelu Nambiar, he says, at the end of the day, I could formulate only one conclusion, and that is, it is not a time to act on the lines of the recommendations of the Committee of Parliament on Official Language, in regard to language, especially Article 348 of the Constitution. The period of 15 years stipulated in Article 348 of the Constitution can never be adhered to in the changed situation, making it impossible for a long time from now to adhere to the said stipulation. Times have changed against the stipulation. Situation has not improved in favor of the stipulation. The far forgotten statement, politicians on the question of language will not be able to for a long time to come. Fali Nariman also has said, I will read the last few sentences. Many new words have crept in. We have institutionalized and localized the English language. As some said, it has become English, so it is with the legal system. Originally an English transplant with Anglo-Saxon roots. The legal system in India has grown over the years, nourished in Indian soil. It has become indigenized. What was intended to be an English oak has turned into a large sprawling banyan tree whose serial roots have descended to the ground to become new trunks. In my considered opinion, the most serious objection to the recommendations would be based on the doctrine of violation of the basic structure of the Constitution. Justice delivery system by the Supreme Court and the High Court is the basic structure of the Constitution, and this necessarily includes the manner, mode, and the expression of that judgment by the particular court. No linguistic imposition of any kind could be made upon any judge of the Supreme Court or the High Courts, obligating them not to deliver their